Week 8 is finished in the NFL, and like Will Levis, we are hanging on a moment here with deep dynasty waivers moving into Week 9. So we've got 7 players here. We typically use a 50% rostership threshold in Sleeper to really give you those deep dive players. And we're going to start off with the unfortunate injury situation to Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. We saw the Achilles injury that surely cost Cousins the end of this season and really could end his career with the Vikings, given his contract situation and the way the team has been looking towards the future. There right now, it seems like Jaren Hall is definitely an ad right now in your deep leagues. You want to go out there. He's 16% rostered in Sleeper. He's a rookie. He brings in an athletic profile that can bring a rushing floor as well as the ability to strike vertically to Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson if he returns, and also play some efficient quarterback that he did at BYU. And so you're going to want him to add him in those deep leagues. Keep an eye on Nick Mullins because Kevin O'Connell was very non-committal coming out of this one, whether or not they were going to go with Jaren Hall or Nick Mullins in that direction. Hall is the hope for our dynasty leagues and for fantasy purposes, as he seems to have a better chance at adding points the way that he plays. But again, go out, add Jaren Hall, 16% sleeper rostered, and we wish Kirk Cousins the best. Taylor Heinicke in Atlanta. This one is a difficult one. He's 31% sleeper rostered. Desmond Ridder the turnovers have become a problem. He had 3 turnovers in each of the last 2 weeks. He left this game with a concussion. He cleared concussion protocol, but they did not bring him back in the game. And so it's going to be interesting to monitor to see if this was kind of the catalyst for a move that Arthur Smith had been considering on playing the veteran Heinicke as the Falcons are chasing a playoff spot, or if this was simply precaution as the team was down by 2 scores when that happened, and maybe they wanted to be extra cautious with Ridder. Watch through this week, but this is going to be a deeper one. I wouldn't put a lot of fab into adding Heinicke in your super flex leagues because he does bring a rushing floor, and we've seen more volume out of that Atlanta passing attack recently. But Drake London also picked up an injury in this game, and he could be out next week. We're monitoring that situation. So Heinicke would likely be tasked to play just kind of efficient, mistake-free quarterback play, and it seems like that's all the Falcons need right now with the running attack that they have and the way that their defense is playing. But monitor Taylor Heinicke, put a deeper claim in for him, and lower fab type claim, but we'll see how that situation plays out. Daniel Bellinger with the Giants. He's 39% sleeper rostered. I'm very hesitant to recommend a Giants receiving option after we saw Tommy DeVito come in. The team completed 6 passes, gained 7 yards out of the passing game. So there's not a lot there right now, but we did see Darren Waller leave this game with injury to his hamstring that could cost him multiple weeks because those hamstring injuries do tend to linger. Daniel Bellinger had already been playing a very large role for the Giants, and so that could expand even more. He's going to be primarily a blocker, but he's the type that could be out there, catch some passes just from proximity. Deep leagues, though, the play might be Lawrence Cager. That might be your kind of secret stash there. Cager was a college wide receiver. He brings a lot more athleticism to the position. So if Brian Daboll wants to keep those 2 tight end sets that they kind of had been playing with Waller and Bellinger previously, Cager would be the biggest beneficiary right now. But this is just a deeper ad. Bellinger has fallen to waivers because he's kind of been forgotten about in that offense, but he was a player that carried a lot of hype coming out of last year. He was a strong rookie performer. So a deeper league ad and monitor the situation with Darren Waller there. So Jamison Crowder from Washington, he comes in this 5% sleeper rostered, and we saw Curtis Samuel carry an injury designation into this game, and he picked up another injury as well. And so make sure to check out all of Adam Hutchison's injury analysis for us here at Football Guys. He does a fantastic job, and Adam will be on this situation. Crowder looks to be the biggest beneficiary, though, if Curtis Samuel were to miss time. He kind of works a lot better in those intermediate to short routes that Samuel lives in, while Diami Brown kind of profiles more to replace Terry McLaurin downfield. And so Crowder, 5% sleeper rostered. He's a player that can work well in PPR formats. We've seen Washington's willingness to spread the ball out to all their receivers, and we've seen some high passing volume days out of this offense. This past week against Philadelphia, they had 50 pass attempts, and Crowder did catch a touchdown late in this game. So keep an eye on Jamison Crowder, a deeper league ad. He might profile better to your best ball leagues, but as we have some buys in week 9, you might get a little bit desperate, and so he could be an option there. Carson Wentz is currently unemployed right now, but he is this is the time where if somebody wants to make a move, potentially Minnesota wants to make a move, this would be the move that it's time that Carson Wentz, if he wants to get back in the league, he kind of needs to make a decision soon and get an opportunity soon. He's 11% sleeper rostered, and so this is your under-the-radar move in those deeper superflex leagues that maybe your league mates aren't onto this yet, and maybe this might blow up here in the next day or two, and you might not even get that opportunity to add him for cheap. But if he's out there, if you've got the roster space, Carson Wentz is kind of the time now to add him, carry him through the next couple of weeks if you have that luxury, and see if anything pops up to give him an opportunity. We've seen the buzz that generates off of if he were to sign with Minnesota, he would get a buzzy day on social media, and that might be a sell opportunity for you to immediately flip an asset that you claimed for nothing and to be able to maybe get some draft capital or maybe get a younger player that you like in a package deal there. But Carson Wentz, again, another opportunity for maybe to go with Minnesota. There's not a lot of connective ties between Wentz and that organization in Minnesota, but this is a good opportunity for him to step into fantasy relevance if he were to sign there. This is another kind of deeper game theory play, but Hunter Renfrow with the Raiders. He's at 57% sleeper rostered. The timing on this one's not ideal, as the trade deadline is going to be on Tuesday, and many waivers are going to process Tuesday night into Wednesday. But Renfrow has been in trade rumors throughout persistently over the last couple months, and so this might be the Raiders' last opportunity to really recapture some value for a player that they just aren't using right now. And we saw Renfrow have fantasy relevance in the past. He finished as wide receiver 10 in PPR formats in 2021. So this is a player that can land and immediately be a contributor as a slot and kind of grow in profile, be able to be a very low-key addition. He's still 57% sleeper rostered, lending to that 2021 season, but we are now a year and a half deep, and we haven't seen a lot of fantasy relevance out of Renfrow. He needs to make a move for that to happen, and Trey Tucker has been playing a bigger role with the Raiders, giving them perhaps a little bit more comfort to move off of Renfrow. Last move is going to be Iosivas from Cincinnati. And we mentioned him a couple weeks ago when T. Higgins picked up an injury. He's 18% sleeper rostered, and he's the perfect addition for a rebuilding squad or really any deep squad with the luxury to be able to add players right now, or maybe somebody popped up on your IR and you have an open spot. Iosivas caught a touchdown against the 49ers, his second touchdown of the year. And while he's running as the fifth wide receiver for the Bengals, he's making those splash plays. And that's really what you want to see out of a deep player like this, that the ability to get on the field, the ability to make impact plays when he's on the field. And so it's kind of clearing those thresholds, what you want to see out of a deep developmental wide receiver. First, making the roster. Second, getting on the field. Third, doing something when he's on the field. And so that grows. And so he's the perfect type of player where as he stacks a couple splash plays throughout the year, the Bengals are playing in some higher profile games as they seem to have righted the ship. They go into that offseason, and if anything happens with T. Higgins or any other roster movement there, he's a player that will naturally accrue dynasty value given his profile, given his age, given his athleticism, and if he stacks those splash plays. And so this is the types of stashes that we want to make later in the year, those players that really don't have to do anything in the offseason, but can naturally, the situations allow them to gain a lot of value and stack a lot of value to give you flexible assets to either move into another deal, or you're happy and you want to hold them and you want to see what happens there. But Iosivas is our last ad. Again, thank you so much for joining. Make sure to like and subscribe to all of Football Guys content. And we've got you covered for injuries. We've got you covered for more waivers with the Fantasy Football Show with Dave and Alfredo coming up. But again, thank you so much and good luck this week.